Hello, everybody. This is Apba Brian with Apba Baseball Classics, and we're back for another NFL Pick'em week. This is week 11. I'm calling it I'm Really Back Sunday. We all heard Cam Newton, and we also saw the return of McCaffrey to Charlotte. And I think Charlotte, or the Carolina Panthers, I think they probably really are back. And I don't know if what happens in Vegas is going to stay in Vegas, but I kind of think the Chiefs might be back.
I hope they're back.
We've had 3 weeks of incredible upsets and weird games. We might get another week. There are only 5 teams that are not within one game of the playoffs, so everybody's like parity in the NFL, which makes for a good season around the league. But for pickers, it's been a nightmare. Although you're at 95 and 54, 64%. I'm at 90 and 59, 60%. And Dan is at 58% at 86 and 63. We're not doing horrible. Dan might want to pick it up a little bit.
Yeah, I need to start picking New England more because they're starting to hurt me. They keep winning and I keep picking against them.
We're kind of looking like a Super Bowl team, New England, even with the rookie quarterback. But anyway, let's get started. New England at Atlanta Thursday night.
Yeah, I'm gonna pick New England. Last week Atlanta let me down big time. And so I'm not going to pick Atlanta again. I'm not going to pick against New England again. So
Atlanta really let a lot of people down. Their first drive against Dallas looked good. And I thought if they went in there, they've got a blueprint that the Broncos gave them. They could run the ball against Dallas, but they didn't try to run the ball. They did score the first drive, but there was nothing after that. So I'm looking at New England, and they got Trent Brown back on their offensive line. I think he was normally a left tackle, but he played right offensive tackle last week. But the offensive line has been coming, and I think he'll just make it better. Mac Jones completed 82% of his passes. My goodness, that guy's just getting to be a force in the NFL.
yeah,
Yeah, I'm with you. I'm picking the New England Patriots. It's now time for Dan Mattingly, my son-in-law, and Justin's brother-in-law to join us. Dan, you fell back a little further last week. You lost a game on Justin. I gained 2 games on Justin. But it's been 3 tough weeks of picking.
It has. It has. I lost a game on him again. Okay. Well, no surprises. It's been that kind of year.
Our first game up is, we now should tell the audience that, and so we record this at different times, and I splice you in between Justin and my picks. So you're on here without hearing Justin's picks. I'll kind of let you know as we go along probably how he does. But our first game is New England at Atlanta.
I like New England here. It is one of those games where you really don't know what you're going to get out of the Falcons, but I think New England is very solid. I think they can walk into anybody's building and pick up a win right now. Defense is going well. And man, the Falcons would really have to bounce back after hanging 3 on the Cowboys last week.
Yeah, New England, I think they lead the league in interceptions on defense, and that defense is looking solid. They're quite a balanced team. Cordell Patterson is not practicing, and he is very questionable for the game. And if Atlanta didn't have him, they're really going to be behind the 8 ball. I think Cordell Patterson is kind of like a mini Deebo Samuel, the big guy who runs out of the backfield and also can catch passes downfield.
Sure. But bizarre that they figured out how to use him. I think I saw that this is his 9th year. He's been around forever. And nobody really ever figured out how to use him in the offense. They had him as a returner. They'd have him run gadget plays. But if he could have been doing this all this time, he's been wasted for almost a decade.
Justin and I both picked New England. I think that's a pretty sure pick. And next game, starting the Sunday games, is Indianapolis at the Buffalo Bills.
This is a dangerous game. This could be a parody game. Taylor is looking like the best running back in the NFL with Derrick Henry out of the picture. The Bills, their defense, they have practically the best defense in the NFL, though. The best pass defense for sure. And their run defense is pretty high up there, at least top 5. So I have to pick Buffalo here. I kind of want to pick safe on this game. Because I think Joey Wentz, he might have some struggles against that elite defense the Bills are putting out there.
I agree with you on Jonathan Taylor. He could be the premier back in the league right now. Last year, Buffalo really focused on stopping him. And so that might open the door for Pittman, the receiver for Indianapolis, but you got to have Wentz throwing it to him. Wentz is having a good year, but he is prone to mistakes. And the key thing I'm looking at in this game is Indianapolis has not yet beat a winning team. They beat up all the losing teams, but they've got losses only against winning teams, and Buffalo is definitely a winning team with a good coach. I am picking Buffalo.
That's a good observation.
Indianapolis at Buffalo.
Tough game. I like Buffalo's team a little bit better. I think Allen's a more complete quarterback. And I trust the Bills at home as much as I do just about any team in the league. They should take care of this Colts team, even though they do have a good defense and can put up some points. I'll still take the Bills.
Yeah, Justin and I both took Buffalo Bills. Indianapolis, I told Justin that they have not beat a winning team yet. And Buffalo
doesn't surprise me.
Buffalo can beat winning teams. Next game is the Washington football team at the Carolina Panthers. You talk about upsets. My goodness.
Yeah, that was huge for the Panthers. The Cardinals, they're a little banged up.
Washington football team beating Tampa Bay too.
Oh yeah, that was shocking. Tom Brady, 4 interceptions. Also pretty shocking. That's his second game in a row with 4 interceptions.
Is it four interceptions last 2 games, or did he throw 4 last week?
Oh, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe it's been 2 in each of the last 2 games.
I think the last 2 games, right?
Yeah. Okay. Tampa Bay, they're a little bit banged up on offense, and that's kind of what led to Washington's defense having the success they had. With Gronkowski and someone else was out in that receiving core.
Yeah, and they got 3 cornerbacks on defense that are out, Tampa Bay. So Tampa Bay is shorthanded. And Carolina is not shorthanded now.
No, McCaffrey is back and very happy to be back and loud and proud.
Yeah, he's looking good.
Yeah. Washington, they lost Chase Young too.
Yeah.
I'm gonna pick Carolina in this game. I just think that with McCaffrey on that offense, they're gonna be able to outscore that Washington team.
Yeah, Cam Newton did not play much last week, but he scored on his first touch and running in, and he scored his first passing. I don't know if it's been determined yet who's going to start, but I think Cam Newton has been playing quite a bit in practice with the first team. So it might be Cam Newton out there, maybe with a somewhat limited offense. We'll see. Walker didn't do bad, by the way, when he played. And then, of course, McCaffrey's back. I think the loss of That was an huge emotional win for the Washington football team, beating Tampa last week. I think that's a little draining. I think they're going to come into Carolina, and Carolina is going to bring them back down to earth.
Yeah.
Your Washington football team at Carolina.
So I mean, it was nice to see Cam get back.
Did you
I
get?
thought the guy that had the best game was the MVP of the XFL, whose name escapes me right now. But he looked good. He was getting him down the field and putting Cam into goal line situations. But where Newton struggles is between the 20s. Once he gets close, he's okay. But if he has to drive the field and it starts bouncing passes off the dirt, I don't love that fit. It's hard to pick this game because I think Carolina may be the better team. I think Washington played about as perfect as they could last week to beat the Bucks, and I think they'll probably have a letdown. I think the Panthers will take this one.
Justin and I both picked Carolina. The audience should know that you're from Washington, and you're kind of partial.
Hard to pick against them.
That 19-play, 80-yard drive in the fourth quarter to ice Tampa Bay, that was pretty amazing.
So Chicago showing us a few signs of life here and there, but Baltimore should take care of this game. I think they didn't have a very good week last week and lost to a goofy team. So I think that Baltimore takes care of business this week against the Bears.
Yeah, I think they were embarrassed. I picked Baltimore. Justin is picking Chicago.
Oh,
So
man. And I lost a game on him last week? Are you sure?
here's another interesting game. Detroit Lions at the Cleveland Browns.
Yeah, the Browns are weird lately. So Goff, he just did something last week that hasn't been done in the NFL in 40 years. And that is have less than 115 yards passing in a game. The last time that happened was I think it was like the 1980 Buccaneers.
You sure about that? Because it seems like one time the Chiefs shut down Tim Tebow of the Broncos when he was with the Broncos. And he had like maybe 40 yards passing, some crazy weird number like that.
Did he play like throughout the whole game?
Yeah.
Huh.
He might have. I don't, I would double check that stat there. Goff is, by the way, he didn't practice today. He's injured. So it might be, I think the backup's name is Tim Boyle. He might be making his first NFL start.
Interesting.
Against Myles Garrett and the Cleveland defense.
Yeah. That Cleveland defense is a little bit on their back foot, but they're probably going to rebound. Detroit's just the team to rebound against. Like whatever ailment your team is going through, it's time to get it's time to get right.
The Lions are what the doctor ordered.
Yeah, so I'm picking Cleveland here.
I'm also picking Cleveland. Baker Mayfield said he is right now as beat up as he has ever been in a season. And I think he's playing, but I don't know. They should really think about Case Keenum because Mayfield has been battered this year. I think the running game's still going to be okay with Dearness Johnson against Detroit. That their secondary too, especially, has been a mystery. But with a rookie quarterback starting, they should be okay. I got Cleveland. Detroit at Cleveland.
Well, I think that Cleveland would probably be better off playing Keenum at this point. I think Baker's about as broken as you can get, and showed it last week. I think that just knowing that he's going to try to suit up is probably going to hurt him. Detroit, I don't know what to do with that team. Goff is so bad. Goff is just the rest. Everybody plays so hard and they really try. And I mean, a tie is better than a loss, but not by much. I think Cleveland is just top to bottom roster talent wise too good for the Lions.
We both picked Cleveland. Yeah, Goff is questionable for the game coming up. It might be a new quarterback starting, Tim Boyle, starting his first game.
That's probably not going to be much better than Goff.
Yeah, the disappointment in Cleveland is palpable. And Baker Mayfield said what you just said, that he is probably more beat up now than he's ever been at any point in his career. So I think they should be going with Casey Keenum as well.
Keenum's great, and he's one of the best backups in the league. He's shown he can win. He led the Vikings on that one great miracle playoff run that kind of fell short. But I mean,
Yeah, under the same coach, so they're familiar with each other. San Francisco at Jacksonville.
Okay. Jacksonville's defense is sneakily getting better lately.
The whole team is. They're the short end on offense, but I think Urban Meyer is kind of getting his feet on the ground now.
Yeah. And I expect they're going to lean on Robinson in this game quite a bit. The way San Francisco's been weak against the run this year. But San Francisco is the safe pick here. And I've got two picks that I'm I've got three picks that I think are upset picks. And so I kind of need to balance that out with safe picks. And so I'm taking San Francisco here.
Okay. Did you watch that game last week, San Francisco and Rams? Well, you were sleeping at that time. San Francisco came out with a running game, and a lot like Denver did to Dallas with a stampede running game. San Francisco put Deebo Samuel in the backfield as a running back for about 8 plays or so, and everybody knew they were handing the ball, but he was still getting yards. And Deebo Samuel also was catching the ball down. He had a spectacular day, Deebo Samuel. And San Francisco stampeded the Rams. I think the Rams are a little bit physically undersized. Aaron Donald is not as big as I thought he was. I've watched a couple of their games, and I think the Rams have a problem stopping the run. And I think now Jacksonville on defense is not undersized up front. They've got some bulky kids there. So you're right. This is something you have to think about. But I am staying with San Francisco. I think they're the safer pick. They're not going to I don't see Jacksonville getting enough pressure on Garoppolo. He's going to throw the ball. And Deebo Samuels is really a superstar the way he's playing right now. Now, he took over that game against the Rams, and he'll probably do the same against Jacksonville. I'm picking San Francisco. This might be one of your upsets.
You guessed right.
Green Bay, Minnesota.
Yeah, I'm picking Minnesota here. And let me explain. Cousins, he got back on track pretty good. Green Bay, they're a banged up team. Aaron Jones is questionable whether or not he's going to play. And then they've got their defensive injuries. Now Minnesota, they're first in the NFL in sacks with 29, I believe, for the season.
Mm-hmm.
And their pass defense is sneakily playing pretty well. They're a little vulnerable to the running game. And so Green Bay's Dillon, he could put some scary numbers up today.
Yeah, and they had a guy named Taylor that played some too that looked decent.
Yeah, so that's kind of what I'm a little worried about. But I think there's kind of a trifecta going on here with how well their pass rush is playing and how well their pass defense is, and with Cousins back on track. I think this makes for a reasonable upset pick. And I'm trying to change things up and make some of these upset picks because of the way the season is going.
I'm trying to find upset picks too. But last week, Green Bay, Rodgers was either rusty because he's coming off of COVID and is maybe still has some effects there, or it was simply because he didn't have a week to practice and maybe lost a little bit of timing. But he's had this week, and I think we're going to get the full-on Aaron Rodgers this week. Green Bay's running game is pretty good, and their defense has been showing the way. They've had some defensive injuries, but they held the Chiefs down, and then they pitched a shutout, and their defense is flying high right now.
I don't think that shutout against Seattle was all that special. That was Russell Wilson's first game back in a while. And
yeah, he definitely had a bad game.
And that Seattle offense has been having a bad series of games.
Their defense, though, has been playing better, Seattle's defense. Yeah, it's a tough pick, but I'm going to go with Aaron Rodgers.
Okay.
Yeah, so Packers and Minnesota. Minnesota is quite the interesting team. They are. It's hard to predict what they're going to do. Oh, Lucky wants to say hi. It looks like. Okay. So I like the Packers. I think they're just a more solid team. They're more consistent, and I think that Rodgers will really be going after it after all the criticism that he took over a bad mistake on his part and an omission that he really can't. There's no excuse for. But he's a guy that has a lot of pride, and I think he'll go after it for the rest of this season.
Yeah, I think he was a little rusty because he just didn't have practice time on the field. I think that made a big difference.
That Packers defense is good.
The whole team is balanced. They can run the ball, they can pass, and the defense is outstanding. Now, I took Green Bay, and you're taking Green Bay.
Yes. Yeah. And Justin's on the Vikings.
Justin is on the Vikings. Yeah.
Oh boy.
A couple opportunities.
Maybe
here.
I can pick up a game this week.
Next game is the Jets hosting the Miami Dolphins.
Okay. Joe Flacco's starting this game for the Jets, and I am not picking that. There's no way. He's gonna have a bad day, especially if Miami builds off last week and decides to pressure the quarterback like they just did. Flacco is it's gonna be so bad. So I'm picking Miami.
Yeah, Miami had such a week last week. They totally we talked about this already. They totally out schemed the Ravens. And defensively, I don't see Flacco beating Miami. And on offense, I don't see the Jets' rush defense stopping Miami's run game, whoever they send out there. I mean, the Jets' run defense has just been awful. So I'm picking Miami. Not thinking that Miami is getting well or anything, but it's the Jets. All right, then Miami at the New York Jets.
Ooh, I like Miami better. I saw that Joe Flacco will be starting for the Jets.
Yeah.
That doesn't raise their floor. His best football is far, far, far behind him. I loved watching him with Baltimore, but he was always kind of a guy that was only as good as the team around him. He could make the throws, big guy, but I mean, White and Wilson are the future for the Jets. To turn around and watch Joe Flacco get sacked 16 times in this game is going to be rough.
Everybody's on Miami. Next game is New Orleans at the Philadelphia Eagles. This is a tough pick here.
Yeah, you could almost flip the coin on this one.
Yeah.
Now, the New Orleans defense, I think, has the edge over the Philly defense. Philadelphia, their offense has been having a lot of success lately because they've been turning to the running game more. But I don't think that's going to work against New Orleans. New Orleans has a great rushing defense. And the Eagles only have like one really dangerous receiver right now, in my opinion, and that's Smith. And I don't think that's enough because New Orleans can just put Lattimore on him and they can shore up that running game. And I think it's going to be hard for the Eagles to put points up on the board this week. Now, same thing goes for the New Orleans offense, though, which they're kind of all or nothing lately. they either put up these numbers that we didn't see coming, or they get completely shut down, like thoroughly. So this is definitely a tough pick. But I'm gonna try and just hope that New Orleans defense does what I expect, and so I'm gonna pick New Orleans.
All right, I'm looking at New Orleans, and I think number one, they're going to be looking for a field goal kicker. They were on their fourth field goal kicker last week, and he missed 2 extra points. But I look at the quarterbacks too. Simeon against Jalen Hurts. I think Jalen Hurts is better. Hurts has really been coming on, and the Eagles. I think the media is really wild on the Eagles here this week. They think the Eagles are actually going to be back in the race for the playoffs. So they shouldn't have traded away Zach Ertz. I don't know why they did that. They really need him.
Yeah.
I really struggled on this, and I don't think I picked the Eagles all year.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I picked Denver against the Eagles and got slaughtered on that pick. I don't remember ever picking the Eagles. So I'm gonna date the Eagles for the first time. It's a blind date. There we go. I'm picking the Eagles.
All right.
New Orleans at Philadelphia.
Tough one. The Saints have looked good. They've lost, but there's something there. They're not going to lose every game. But I love this Eagles team. I don't know why, but I think that they just run the ball so well. Hurts is showing signs of life. The Heisman winner from Alabama is just as good as he was in college, I think. I don't think the size is hurting him at all. He's a fantastic weapon. I like the Eagles here. It may be that I eat some crow on this one, though, because the Saints, they're well coached, and they'll be looking to get a win here.
Saints are a lot like the Vikings. They seem to be in every game, but they just always come out on top. And I think Philadelphia has an ascending team. They're kind of growing on me as well. And that big play by Darius Slay in the third quarter against Denver, that maybe is the kind of thing that maybe will turn their season around. And I'm looking for Philadelphia to win this game also. Justin is not.
Really? Wow.
These new ones.
Huh. Saints. Well, I will say that was one of my favorite highlights of the week. I watched it like 4 times, watching Teddy Bridgewater sort of maybe want to make that tackle.
No, I don't think that thought ever crossed his mind.
Right. Well, he went there. Like, you know how you see Brady throw a pick and he just stands there. And nobody ever says anything about Tom Brady not going after the tackle. They're just like, oh, well, he doesn't, that's smart. He might get hurt. But if you're going to go, you got to go. If you're going to run. If you're going to get there, make the hit. That was despicable. But, hey, it happened.
Tennessee Titans. Also in the Houston Texans.
This is going to be a blowout. Tennessee is going to win.
I agree. I'm picking Tennessee.
Very thoroughly in every possible way they can.
Houston at Tennessee.
Tennessee. I don't think I need to say why.
We're all on Tennessee, and nobody really had a reason.
No.
Two teams who are looking to rebound here, the Cincinnati Bengals and Las Vegas Raiders.
Yeah, they've both got 2-game losing streaks happening. I think Cincinnati has the better chance to rebound here. I think the Burrow Jamar Chase connection, and then Nixon, he's going to be able to do some good things. I just think Las Vegas, they're falling apart, and I'm just kind of picking this based on kind of a feeling thing. It feels to me like Las Vegas is a sinking ship. So I'm gonna trust Cincinnati here to take the win.
Cincinnati is also coming off a bye, aren't they?
Yeah, they are.
They got off to a great start. They were the talk of the NFL the first 4 weeks. First 5 weeks. The last couple of weeks, it's been ugly. But now they've had a week of rest and refiguring. And I'm with you. I think Vegas is thinking that's what's happened now for 3 years. They started out 6-3 and hit the skids, and they started out 6-4 and hit the skids the last 2 years. And it looks like the same thing is happening all over again. I said it last week, there's something's going on in Vegas that's just not football. Those players are just, their head's not in the game. I mean, apparently Ruggs wasn't, and also Arnett. Watching them play last week, they did give the Chiefs a game for the first 2.5 quarters. But when it was over, there just wasn't any fight left in them when things turned south. So if Cincinnati can get off to a good start, I think they will rebound and Cincinnati will win. Cincinnati at Las Vegas.
Both of these teams are falling apart right now. I think Vegas maybe more. That Chiefs win was really telling, kind of about where they're at. Carr didn't really look like he had it. Renfro and Waller made some plays, but that's not going to be enough. They don't seem to have anything else.
Yeah, they didn't get too many opportunities.
Yeah, and exactly. They're able to load up on those guys and make it really difficult. And Josh Jacobs is, I don't know, the first 2 years of his career, he looked like he was really going to be something, and not lately. He just doesn't have that speed to break away. So yeah, I'll take Cincy here. And I think that the thing that surprised me was the D line for Oakland that looked so good in the beginning of the season. Farrell, the kid from Clemson, I think he's asleep. I don't know what happened. I don't know if he's hurt, but all you have to block on that line is Crosby. And teams are able to focus on him and chip him and send two guys, and it makes it really difficult to get after the passer for them. And that was a key to their defense.
Yeah, we're all three on Cincinnati. Cincinnati was, especially their defense, was so good the first 7 weeks. And then now they give up 75 points the last 2. But they've had a bye to try to figure it out. And Vegas is not. So, yeah, we're all on Cincinnati. All right, here's the game. The other part, too, I'm really back Sunday. The Dallas Cowboys and the Kansas City Chiefs.
Oh, boy. I think both teams are going to be over 30 points. Travis Kelce, I expect to have a good day. He's probably going to have at least 80 yards and a touchdown. Tyreek Hill as well. I expect him to follow up last week. Mahomes, he did a great job last week of not trying to press the downfield throws that aren't there. And now that Dallas defense has a lot to think about. And as soon as you start overthinking things against the Chiefs offense, you're in trouble. And Chiefs, they're at home. We've got home field advantage. Our fans are going to be losing their voices. That's everyone's goal, is to lose their voice.
Yeah, they're going to be wound up.
Yep. And, well, this is what I consider an upset pick, and I pretty much outlined the main points why I think so. I'm going to pick the Chiefs. And one more thing. I think our new line with the addition of Ingram, it's looking pretty competent now, that defensive line. So all those things, I'm picking the Chiefs.
Yeah, I have a trivia question for you. And you probably don't know the answer, but there are 4 LSU running backs who have been big players for the Kansas City Chiefs. Can you name those 4 backs from LSU?
No.
2 of them will be playing. And the reason I asked that is because 2 of them will be playing Sunday.
Well, Clyde Edwards-Helaire, he's going to be back, right?
Yep, I think so. He's been practicing for a couple of weeks, and we'll be glad to have him back. And Darrell Williams is from LSU.
Yeah, that's the next name I was going to say.
Yeah, and you were alive for the other one. You might be able to figure out the other one.
We said there's 4 though. Is
Yeah,
there?
there's the fourth one you won't get, or anybody else. But that
I'm
fourth
gonna
one, the fourth one is a Hall of Fame player, by the way.
I'm gonna guess Priest Holmes. Is he
No,
from LSU?
no,
Or maybe it was Larry Johnson.
no.
Oh.
One more shot.
uh it wasn't Jamal Charles, was it?
No,
He, okay. Oh.
it
Well,
was. Do you got another one that you think?
for the recent one, no, I've kind of run out of guesses.
Spencer Ware
Oh,
from
Spencer Ware.
LSU. Now, the fourth one I wouldn't expect you to guess. The fourth one, though, is a Hall of Famer. His name is Johnny Robinson. He started out as a running back with the organization. He is in the Hall of Fame as a safety, but he played halfback at LSU and started out with the Chiefs as a running back.
Oh.
So, to your question aside, I really am hoping and looking for the Chiefs to run the football against Dallas. They're missing the 2 defensive ends, so we should be able to block them pass rush wise. Gregory's looking like he's going to be, I think he hit the COVID list. And DeMarcus Lawrence is on IR. I don't think either one of them is going to be there. So that's good news for the Chiefs. They did a great job pass blocking the Raiders' offensive line, helping out, who's 77?
Wiley.
Yeah, Wiley. Helping out Wiley on the right side. We played 2 tight ends quite a bit. And that's what we did in preseason. And I thought their whole offense was going to be a lot of 2 tight ends. Early in the year, they didn't do it early in the year. But they worked a lot of that in. That helps the running game. So I think the Chiefs are going to be able to run the game, and then they'll be able to take some shots when Dallas' secondary has to commit to stopping the run. That's the hope and the prayer. And I think the Chiefs will pull it off. Yeah, I'm picking Kansas City. Who do you think Dan will take?
I think he'll take KC as well.
After
seeing last week.
Yeah. Dallas at Kansas City.
Tough game to pick. Both teams, well, maybe both teams can put up some points still. Chiefs showed a lot of life. Dallas looked incredible against Atlanta. They have a really complete team. They may have the best defensive back in the league. You got another pick, Diggs. The Ezekiel Elliott and Pollard combination at running back is fantastic. They've got tight ends, wide receivers all over the field. They're a very good team. Mahomes is going to have a lot of magic for this one, and Kelsey's going to have to play the exact game that he played last week for the Chiefs to stay in this one. I'll take the Cowboys in this, and on the plus side, if I don't take the Chiefs, they seem to win. So I like that.
Well, that's a good deal. Justin and I both took Kansas City. The media, the ones I watched and the pickers, they're kind of high on Dallas, even though Kansas City is like a 2.5 point favorite. And they always point to how awful Chiefs defense is. But I think they've made some strides to fix that defense. They got Neiman off the field most of the time. And Sorensen was only on the field 1 play, and he made that pick. Did you see that play? He started running backwards about 2 seconds before the snap, and that helped him get to where he was supposed to be.
Right. I was like, oh, no. But if he hadn't done that, I thought Matthew would have made the play anyway. He was in position knowing that Sorensen probably wouldn't be, which is pretty telling if a guy has to come across the field to cover your zone. But if they can keep Neiman and Sorensen from giving up big plays, that's the best thing they can do with the defense. They looked so good last week. Chris Jones playing on the inside.
The addition of Mark Egan has been very helpful. And I
Yep.
don't know if you know this, but Dallas's defensive ends, DeMarcus Lawrence and Gregory,
Yep.
are on the IR. Gregory's got COVID, and DeMarcus Lawrence is also on that. They're both very, very questionable. They might not be playing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I did see that. It's going to be very difficult for them to generate pressure. So, I mean, that's the one thing I think I'm hoping Kansas City can take advantage of. They'll have time. Mahomes should have the time that he usually doesn't. And he may be able to make some big plays because of that. But Dallas can make a lot of big plays too.
Last week, I enjoyed the Chiefs all white uniforms. They call them the ice uniforms. And, you know, back in the day, it used to be that NFL teams would wear white at home to make the Cowboys wear blue. I'd like to see the Chiefs do something like that. The last time I saw the Chiefs play Dallas at the stadium, they wore their retro uniforms.
Oh, yeah.
Wore their 1960 uniforms, and Chiefs with the Dallas Texans helmets. That was really cool. But I kind of like to see the Chiefs come out in all white. I don't think they will. But I'll be looking
That's a cool thing. Like, yeah, I mean, you see the Penn State whiteout, and it's always the coolest thing on TV. You see like the whole stadium, and I agree. I like stuff like that. I think it would be cool, and not a lot of teams do it.
Justin pointed out that the crowd is going to be ramped up for this, and that's a factor too. Unless Dallas scores the first couple scores, then they can take the crowd out of the game. But I think the crowd's going to be ready for this game, and they're going to help also.
Oh yeah, no, and the Chiefs, they're first in the division, and you know they look. I want to see a couple weeks of it, but they look like they're back. They look like they can play with anybody. Tough to come back and then have to play one of the NFC favorites in the next week. So that's my only hiccup for them. I hope they win. I think, like you said, defense looks really good.
Whatever happens, we're going to see some individual outstanding performances. Some of the blocks that Clyde Humphrey is throwing and Trey Smith.
Oh, yeah.
There's those pancake blocks. There's something else. And then Ezekiel Elliott, he's a great blocker in the backfield when he stays back and protects his quarterback. So next game is Arizona at Seattle.
My first thought is you have to take the Cardinals here, but this season has been weird, and now Russell Wilson, he's going to be better than what he did last week. It's only a matter of time. And yeah, the Seattle defense, they have played a little bit better lately, and Arizona's been banged up on offense. I don't think Murray is 100% whether he's going to be back or not. Do you know?
They haven't said yet, but I think it's unlikely. Remember last year he got hurt, and then they brought him back, and he didn't play very good, and that knocked him out of the playoffs. So I think they're going to be extra cautious about bringing him back, and maybe the same thing with Hopkins too. So they might be without Hopkins and Murray again. So
yeah, but they have Zach Ertz, and Zach Ertz, he can do some things to that Seattle defense.
He can, but I don't see him as a Travis Kelce that can just carry a team.
Yeah, I don't think he needs to carry them though. I mean, they have enough ability to spread the ball around there with all their talent, even with missing the people they are. My only fear about this game is just the way these games have been going this year. I think the Arizona defense, though, they're going to probably carry the day and probably keep them in it. And I think the Arizona running game should be able to be enough alongside that defense, and Arizona's going to win.
Yeah, this was the game. If I was going to pick an upset, it would be Seattle. And if Russell Wilson had played decently last week, I'd feel better about picking Seattle. He let on like it was a big campaign. You know, I've had great practices. I'm back and I'm really ready to go. And he wasn't ready to go last week, and he might not be back to full speed. I mean, he had chances to practice with the number one for a while, and he still put up a stinker. It's getting pretty old.
Yeah, and this is a tough defense to bounce back against.
Yeah. There might be another week of Colt McCoy. I still don't respect. Seattle's defense has been playing better, but I still don't have a whole lot of respect for them. So after scratching my head and crossing out Seattle, I put down Arizona. I'm with Arizona.
Takes fair Jack.
Yeah. Arizona at Seattle.
I like Arizona here. Seattle just looks flat. That's such a disappointment. That team is usually so fun to watch. And I heard that Russell Wilson was rehabbing his finger like 14 hours a day or something like crazy amount of time. And maybe he wasn't sleeping. I have no idea what was going on with that guy, but that's not what I remember Russell Wilson looking like. That defense is without any real playmakers. Wagner looks, I hope that he gets to another team because watching him play with that defense is rough. And Metcalf and Lockett, they're never open. Like, I'm watching the game. I'm used to seeing them make plays and just have space, and they're not. They've kind of figured them out.
Slowed them down.
Yeah.
So we're all on Arizona. Pittsburgh and Los Angeles Chargers.
Okay. In that Pittsburgh-Detroit game last week, that had to have been one of the worst holding calls to wipe out a touchdown I've seen all year. It was called against the Steelers. The Detroit defensive lineman, he completely just bulldozed over the Pittsburgh offensive lineman. And the Pittsburgh offensive lineman, like, he hardly even had his hands on the guy by the time he lost his balance, like, and the guy who was driving him into the ground, like, he wasn't going down with him because he was being held. He was going down with him because he was completely dominating the guy. And that was his intention, to drive him into the turf. And the referee called holding on the defenseless lineman that was getting completely trucked over. And it wiped out the touchdown. And then they ended up tying the Lions because of that.
Yeah.
And that is ridiculous. I'm not sure if that call was under 2 minutes or not before halftime, or if it was at the end of the game, or when that happened in the game. But yeah, these referees got to do better. Anyways, Pittsburgh, they had Rudolph in that game, and Ben Roethlisberger, he's not necessarily back this week. He's kind of questionable. And with that information, that's huge, because if Rudolph's starting for the Pittsburgh Steelers, I'm definitely picking the Chargers. And so you kind of have to lean the Chargers' way just because of that possibility. And now also last week the Chargers, they faced Dalvin Cook, and he's a beast of a running back, and sort of contained Dalvin Cook last week, which was pretty uncharacteristic for their season, the way they've been playing against the run. And so if they can do that with Cook, they can probably do that with Harris, especially with how their the Pittsburgh passing game is not as much of a threat as Minnesota's is.
Yeah, I hate to rain on your parade, but Jerry Tiller and Joey Bosa hit the COVID list.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So they may or they may not be there. Both are vaccinated. And actually, one of them was just on protocols for close contact. I think that was Bosa. Tiller has COVID. So, yeah.
Man, there's too many what ifs going on here.
Yeah, Rudolph, you don't know if he's playing because of COVID. Rudolph, though, I think is kind of similar to Roethlisberger. You know, they're both big. I don't see them either one as deep down field threats. Najee Harris is still healthy.
Derwin James is healthy.
Yeah, Jalen Ramsey, he had a good game last week. The thing about Haber, I've been complaining all year about his short passes. He does not have touch on those short passes. And that hurts him every week. I heard him again last week. He threw for under 200 yards. And I think that was his lowest total since he's been in the league. So you can say, Haber is kind of struggling a little bit.
Yeah. His last 3 or 4 games, actually, he's kind of been on a slump.
Yeah. I think it's safe to say this is going to be a low-scoring game. But who's going to win? That's what we're here for. Who's going to win, Justin?
Yeah. Well, I think that Apba and his receiving core, they can get some downfield passes against Pittsburgh. Eckler, between the battle between Eckler and Harris, though, Harris definitely wins.
Yeah, I think so too. Eckler started out well, but lately he's not been much of a factor.
Yeah, he's been quiet. I'm just gonna go with what I chose the first time. I'm gonna pick the Chargers.
I'm down with a lot of hand wringing, but I'm also down with the Chargers. I'm looking for a rebound from Apba. And I'm hoping that one of them, at least Bosa or Tillery's there. One of them might be there. Pittsburgh at Los Angeles Chargers. And the latest news is Micah Fitzpatrick. Pittsburgh is on the COVID list.
Well, now I meant to look this up, but I got a little busy before we started. Is Rudolph still starting for the Steelers, or are they going to try to go back to Ben?
Yeah, it's 50-50.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
You're not sure yet who's starting. I think they're kind of similar. They're both big quarterbacks who don't throw the ball downfield. So yeah. I think it
won't make a big difference.
It's one half dozen the other,
yeah. Well, I don't like the Steelers here. I think that they've been lucky to win the games that they've been in. And I expect the Chargers maybe to play fairly well at home. I'm afraid, as I always am, of how many Pittsburgh fans are going to be in SoFi Stadium to see the Chargers, because they travel extremely well. I think they're the best travel fans in the NFL. The Steelers, they show up wherever their team plays.
There was a lot of red Vegas crowd last
That was wild too, yeah. But I don't know. I mean, the only question I have is, Najee Harris will have a big day rushing, probably, even though the Steelers really can't block. But man, the Chargers defense is they're so bad at stopping the run. So I'm gonna hope for a Chargers win.
Yeah, Bosa and Tillery are very questionable too.
Tillery Bosa's been questionable all year, in my opinion. I don't think he's looked ready for weeks.
Yeah, they both have. Tillery has COVID. Bosa has a close contact, so Bosa might be there. Tillery is less likely, or they both might not be there.
I think they miss Ingram a lot. I think he was more important than they were willing to admit to that line. Having those bookend defensive ends is a big deal.
I agree. Next game is, by the way, we're all on the Chargers. Next Monday night game, Tampa Bay and the New York Giants.
Ooh, this is tough.
Yeah, it is.
We don't know if Gronkowski and the other guy is going to be back or not. So that offense is still a little questionable for Tampa Bay. The Giants, they're sneaky. Their pass defense is one of the league's, I mean, maybe not one of the league's best, but they're probably top 10. They also might be getting Saquon Barkley back this week on the offensive side of the ball.
I think there's a good chance he'll be back.
I would say, like, as far as who wants it more, I think the Giants want it more. I think they want to get in on the action of the playoff race. Especially if Kansas City takes down Dallas this week, things will get very interesting over there in the NFC East. I want to pull the trigger and pick the Giants, but I think I need to do a safe one here. I guess I'm going to go with the Buccaneers, but this is kind of tentative because of the way Brady's thrown a couple picks the last couple games. I'll give him one more week, but if he does something similar, I'm probably going to start seriously considering not picking the Bucs.
Got you down for Tampa Bay. There's some disharmony over there at Tampa Bay, between Bruce Arians and Tom Brady with his comments after the game. And they are missing 3 cornerbacks in the defensive backfield. That's kind of a big deal. When you've got your whole position group out that you were counting on, it's hard to replace that. New York has had a bye week, some time to rest, and some of their troops are getting healthier. I'm just not a fan of their coach. I don't know if he could scheme up well enough to pull this off. So I'm still with Tampa Bay. I think Tampa Bay is going to win this.
Yeah, and there's still the Giants' offensive line troubles, and then Tampa Bay still has that pass rush.
Yeah, they do.
That kind of was one of the things that led me to stick with them there.
Well, it's another good week of picking. I think it's going to be another frightful week, though. Somebody's going to get knocked off. You got like 2 and 5 teams knocking off 7 and 2 teams. It's happening every week.
Yeah.
I don't see Houston doing it, and I don't see the Jets doing it. But Jacksonville.
Yeah.
There's just so much parity in this league. It's made it interesting to watch.
Yeah, for sure.
Well, Justin, thanks for being with us. Enjoy your weekend.
You too.
Next game is Jets Monday night game with Tampa Bay.
So I'm going to go Tampa here. I really I can't believe my Washington football team. I claim 2 cities as home, but the Washington football team, to see them beat Tom Brady was pretty cool last week. Yeah, so I like the Bucs. The Giants have shown a lot of life. I think that Daniel Jones might save his job for another season. We'll have to see what direction they go, but with really no major talents in the draft. I mean, I've watched a good amount of college this season, and I don't know where they're going to go for the next first round picks at quarterback. There's not a lot there that I've seen. So I like the Bucs to bounce back, but the Giants may give them a game.
We're all on Tampa Bay.
Shocking.
Well, another good week of picks. Thanks for joining us, Dan. Yeah, if you're out there and you enjoy these NFL pick shows, I must let you know that I also do on my channel videos of tabletop baseball games, sometimes tabletop football. So check those out. If you like what you see, hit the subscription button and the like button. And of course, comments are always appreciated. Daniel, we're not getting a lot of views. The first few NFL shows we did, but I noticed last one got twice as many views. So I might be picking, and that's good.
Hey, look at us, rock stars out here. It's a blast. Thanks for having me again. Always awesome to talk football with you.
Thanks for joining us. Good night. Oh, thanks again.
Hi, Dad.
How you doing?
Hey.
You got 2 guest appearances.
Yeah.
Did I get extra money for this?
I'm not on the
You are.
YouTube, am I?
You sure are.
Hi.
And there's Lori.
Hi.
Oh,
Yes.
she came in like she melted in. That was pretty cool. Well, good to see you.
We'll see you
Hope
guys.
all's well. And maybe I can pick up a couple games this week.
We'll see you guys on Sunday in Wichita.
Yeah.
Yeah.
See you
Okay.
soon. Bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.